It's been nearly 2 years since I last test rode a Honda Hornet, and in that episode I rode the Honda CB750 Hornet. I entitled that episode 25 Years of Honda Hornet, because for those of you who don't know, the Honda Hornet model has been around for over 25 years now, and the model's just evolved, and it's such a fun naked bike, aggressive looking nowadays, and it's just evolved into a really spectacular motorcycle. That CB750 I rode, I enjoyed my time on it. It was in a modern yellow metallic matte look, and today I'm on something even more special in my opinion. Here behind me is the 2025 1000cc, so the CB1000, but not just the standard version, it is the SP if you have a look over here. So the Honda CB1000 Hornet SP. In this, if I may call it, the JPS, John Player Special colors with the black and the gold accents, and really exquisite motorcycle. So what I'm going to do in this episode, I'm going to have a brief look at that motor, which comes from an older Fireblade motor. Then we're going to look at some of the electronics, but let's be honest, the electronics on these bikes nowadays is so far advanced, it actually exceeds the capabilities of most of us mere mortals. And again, very customizable, really cool motorcycle. But I think this motorcycle comes into its own, the fun factor, the smile it puts on your face when you go riding. So we're going to focus on that, but let's jump right into it and have a look at the specs of this motor. So here in front of me is the 2025 Honda CB1000 SP Hornet. Now there's a different variation, the standard one, and you have the SP in front of me. In this episode, what I'll do is I'll go through the specs of the two different versions, but this black and gold bike in front of me, just remember, is the SP. So let's start off with the engine. Having a look at the engine, it's from the year model, I think it's the 2017 Honda CBR1000RR, the Fireblade. It is a 4-stroke inline 4-cylinder double overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, 1000cc liquid cooled Euro 5. You can see the radiators tucked in here, the 4 header pipes, all open, exposed. It is a naked bike, so no cladding, no fairing. I enjoy this matte black engine with a matte black look. Looks really good. And the output performance, the max power on the standard version is 150.9, so call it 151 horsepower, 111 kilowatts. On this SP version, you're looking at 157.2 horsepower, which is 115.6. So it's 6 horsepower up at 11,000 RPM. The max torque on the standard one is 104 Newton meters, 107 on the SP at 9,000 RPM. So 3 Newton meters torque up. And you can see in the gold over here is your SP lettering. All of this power goes through a wet multiplate assisted slipper clutch, 6-speed gearbox, final drive chain. Now again, the standard version, no quick shifter standard. On the SP, standard quick shifter up and down, which I think is quite exciting for a 1000cc motorcycle. Suspension, both of them have the 41mm upside down shower forks with 118mm travel up front. However, in the gold on the SP, at the rear slide different, you have the monoshock. However, on the SP you can see the gold reservoir dead giveaway Öhlins on this model. Both models have 139mm travel at the rear. When you look at the wheels front and back, both models have a 17-inch front and rear shod with a 120 and a 180 multi-spoke cast aluminum wheel. When you look at the brakes, again a difference. The standard version has the radial mounted 4-piston Nissan calipers. Here on the SP you have the Brembos. dual front disc, 2 times 310 millimeters, but Brembos on the SP. At the rear it's the same. You have a single disc, 210 millimeters, 240 millimeters, a single piston Nissan, and you can see the ABS ring. Seat height standard on both bikes, 809 millimeters. The wet weight of the bike is between 211 and 212 kilos on both. Fuel capacity 17 liters on this puppy. So just to recap, you've got 3 Newton meters more on the SP, about 6.5 horsepower more on the SP. You get the Öhlins rear suspension, you get the Brembos up front, and you obviously get the cosmetic cues of the gold forks and the color differences. If we look at the color options, on the 2025 model standard, you get a Grand Prix red, a matte iridium gray metallic, and a pearl glare white in the standard CB1000 Hornets. With this CB1000 SP Hornet, it is the JPS, the matte black, some gloss black, and the gold accents in fork and wheels. Now, as mentioned, the motor from the 2017 CBR1000 Fireblade. This motor is tuned for higher torque, so you've got a smooth mid-range but a hard-hitting top end for a naked bike. Really cool. You've got throttle by wire. You've got 3 rider modes. Your one is preset with engine brake, power setting, wheelie control, traction control setting, and then that. And you've got 2 customizable ones. Obviously, you've got the Honda RoadSync smartphone connectivity. You've got the LED lighting and your 5-inch TFT. This TFT is 5-inch. It looks a little bit bigger initially, but you've got a big border around it, easy to read. You've got your RPMs, you've got your speed, you've got your gears. Everything is, once you get used to it. It would be a little bit nicer if it would bleed out further to the frame, would be a bigger look. I know there's bigger ones on the market. However, at the same time, being a naked bike, you don't want too big a dash over here because there's no fairing to cover it or hide it. And then your controls are pretty good, pretty instinctive, nice and big. You catch it with gloves. I love the blacked out mirrors, handlebars, everything. So all round, very intuitive, tactile, all the buttons, everything works really well. But as I mentioned before, I think enough electronics to keep you safe and for you to play with. One of the things cosmetically, I mean, I really enjoy and love this look. It looks transformer-like up in front with those lights, and just looks overall really good. One criticism would be this silencer. This pipe is a little bit on the big side. So, but those are smaller changes. Aftermarket pipes, a nice acro or something like that would look really good. Overall, looks wise, I must say I really enjoy the bike, but I think the real fun with this naked bike is in the riding. So let's not waste any more time and jump right on. Just for starters, the first thing that gives you a smile is the sound of this motorcycle. This engine with this exhaust, yes, it might be a little big, but it has a really stunning sound. If you listen to this, it has a nice raspy superbike sound. It pulls smoothly, there's no dips. Obviously you can hear it's a little bit noisy in this helmet, maybe not my quietest helmet with the camera on and all the wind noises. So naked bike, but that's the joy of a naked bike. You use your quietest helmet, and absolutely exquisite, the sound combined with that smooth, effortless, linear power. Have a look at this quick shifter. I'm going to be pulling smooth all the way. I'm not even full throttle. Quick shifter. Another one, and you are just absolutely cooking at illegal speeds, but it's smooth. Again, quick shifter, 6th gear, downshift, upshift, smooth as butter. Roll on, top gear, plenty power. Next thing, ergonomically, I am super comfortable. I wouldn't say as aggressive as a superbike, sports bike, maybe from the waist down, where the foot pegs are positioned, under your bum, far back, high up, good ground clearance. However, the upper body I feel is more like the naked bike street fighter style. You're sitting upright, your elbows are bent. My style is very much with elbows out. I'm comfortable with that. The mirrors, having a look here, I can see very well, and you'll also see that lane splitting is an absolute breeze. So the visibility from the rear view mirrors, they're high up, they're above my elbows, even if I stick them out motocross style. It is a position you can travel with for hours without get fatigued. The legs are not uncomfortable because you can slide it down, so you're not on the balls of your feet. You hook more your heels in, gives you a little bit more room so you don't clamp your knees, but your thighs slope nicely down, tuck nicely into the petrol tank. You can hug the tank over here. The quick shifter is silky smooth once you're up past 3000 RPM, and it just minimal vibrations. You feel them a little bit through the pegs, a little bit through the hands, but they just give you feedback when to change. The handlebar width is perfect in my opinion, not too wide, not too narrow, and if you have a look, you've got about an inch extra on the rear view mirrors, but they are high up. The handlebars are already high up, being not clip-ons lower down. So if I park between these two cars in front of me here, you'll see the rear view mirror is above the rear view mirror of the cars. Selecting neutral, as you saw now, there's no false neutral. I'm not going up into second, down into first. It's crispy gearbox. It was a bit clunky in first gear initially, but after that, really smooth. So changing with a clutch, nice firm resistance, not too hard. You're not going to get forearm pump, but definitely not sloppy. So you've got good resistance, you can change, you can feed. If you're weaving in traffic, you've got good control on the clutch. But I must say, like there, I just used a quick shifter. You hardly noticed it. I was at 4000, went to 3000 RPM, works smoothly. I would say preference after second gear, quick shifter all the way. And sixth gear, you've got plenty stonk to roll on. You don't have to chase the gearbox. That is the difference with having a 600cc or 400cc. If you've got the big 1000, you really put it in top gear and do whatever you like. You've got like an automatic. That is a stunning beauty. At 107 Newton meters torque on a bike like this, is ample torque. There's good mid-range. It doesn't like dip and then suddenly come on. At higher RPM, very, very linear. The stoppers, progressive, good feel, and you can really stop and do a stoppie on this bike if you enjoy. You see again, I got the neutral, quite easy and simple. Now if I show you this view from here, you don't see a front wheel, you don't see a front mudguard, you see nothing. I have to go really over the bike to see the front wheel here, and that sort of brings that boyish misbehavior out where you just want to do stoppies. You want to pull those Brembo stoppers and put this bike on the front wheel. It's something fun to do. I'm going to behave now and not promote that on this video, and it is not my motorcycle, so let's behave and respect it. It is a fairly new motorcycle with just over 1,000 kilometers. As you can see, illegal speeds come up very quickly, but the joy on a naked bike like this is not necessarily the top speed. That's where you would have a super bike where you've got a little bit of wind protection. You can tuck into the fairing, put your head down, and a little bit quieter. On a naked bike like this, it's more that torque, that instant punch that pushes you forward, that thrill of cutting the curves, going through a canyon, carving, rolling on, not having that high torque spinning up the rear, the fear of a high side. You just got that roll on torque that pushes you forward, and that is why I actually enjoy my muscle bikes like I have in my collection. But this is really nice. I'm down to 5th gear, just rolling on a little bit. I'm going to misbehave here, and plenty power, plenty. The only downside to naked bikes would be the noise in the helmet. Maybe I need to come up with something quieter for a naked bike, maybe attach the camera to my chest. But for me, riding is about riding, and noise is part of riding. We see cops standing on the side of the road, so it would be advisable to just chill it down a little bit. But this is what I was saying when I started this episode, where I said these naked bikes, and when something optically looks this good and looks this futuristic, and the colors, everything blends, the specs already tell you a superbike motor in a naked bike, high torque, then you know this is going to be a bike that's going to draw you in, suck you in, and give you heaps of fun. I would say it's a great bike for commuting because lane splitting. I've got good control with the wide handlebars. I've got good balance on this bike. If I just move my feet forward and hook just in front of my heels into the footrests, it's actually quite a neutral position, and the blood doesn't get clamped off by my knees from the thighs to the calves. And you got ample space here in front. The tank is not too long. The handlebars are high up. They're not clip-ons. They're actually raised off the triple clamp. They come back slightly. They have a nice width, not too wide that it hinders you with lane splitting. So you sit perfectly upright. My arms, my body is perfectly upright. My arms just come and go in like that. So extremely comfortable, extremely neutral, no fatigue in the wrists, no fatigue in the lower back. So it's a bike you can commute to, you can ride long distances with. The two problems with a bike like this would be, should it rain or drizzle, no protection, and again, if it's really cold or windy, it'll buffet you around. So those are the cons on a bike like this. The pros are, you know, a smile a mile, the power of a bike like this, the extremely good looks of a bike like this. I'm taking an extremely bumpy road here, known to be quite ugly, and the bike is stiffly sprung but not uncomfortable, very manageable. You can see lane splitting next to a truck here, just pushing the envelope a little bit. I've got a very undulating road over here. I'm lane splitting, put everything together. A bike I'm not familiar with, and no problems. Pulling off on an uphill, undulating road in between traffic. Throw everything together. Fantastic sound, fantastic power, and just stunning. I must say, I'm extremely comfortable. From an ergonomics, this bike is a 10 out of 10 for me. My 6-foot frame, really exquisite. The Brembo brakes, the stoppers, really good. Handling good. Canyon Carver, this is a weekend warrior of a bike. I really do think you can take it out onto a track and really thrash it around. You don't have the worry of the big long straights that's going to buffet you. If you do long touring with a bike like that, it's going to get cumbersome. But doing a weekend breakfast run, doing a track day, doing some commuting to work and back in decent weather, this is a phenomenal motorcycle. But it's it's more than a motorcycle, it's a toy, because the Hornet CB750 was stunning. I enjoyed it, I loved it. The good looks, the color, that bright yellow, this is exactly the opposite. It's a stealthy look to it. But combined with the good looks, now you're shoving in a monster engine of 150 horsepower plus, 107 newton meters, and good torque, linear power, TFT displays, all the traction control and engine braking, and you can really mess around with a bike like that. Set it up to suit yourself and just have a lot of fun with a bike like this. And safety features, the SP is, I don't know the price difference, I didn't go into that. I was so excited to get on this bike and be back on a bike again that I didn't have a look at the price difference between the standard version versus the SP. But it's just something that when I saw the picture of it and I was invited to ride it, I had to go for it. I had to jump on it, and I wanted to know what is better about the SP versus the standard one. So I think for a standard bike, commuting, whatever, the SP is over the top. The Nissan brakes are great, you don't need the Brembos. However, if you a spirited rider and you love doing your track days, and when you go canyon carving, you really giving it some, it's always nice to have the Brembos. Always nice to have a few extra horses, we never complain about that. The sound is great despite the big silencer, as mentioned before. I love the sound of the bike, but maybe just lean it down a little bit, a slimmer pipe, maybe some carbon tip ends, just to give yourself a little bit more jewelry onto your bike. But other than that, I must say this is a pure joy to ride. There's a few things on a bike like that you might change here and there to personalize it, but this Honda CB1000 SP Hornet is brilliant in my opinion. I'm excited, I love riding it. Unfortunately, I have to bring it back. It's starting to be a little bit of peak hour traffic, end of day. But what a stunning ride. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode with me. The all new 2025 Honda CB1000 SP Hornet. If you enjoyed this episode with me, guys, as always, please hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, and most important of all, guys, please hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free, it helps me build the channel, and if you like, the reminder bell so you always know when I'm uploading something new.